Hello and welcome everyone to Ride the Wave. My name is Shelby.
I'm Kenz.
I'm Taylor.
And that's my co-host Kenz. And sorry, it must have lagged. Tonight it looks a little different. I'm on a little vacation, but we still wanted to do the podcast and just be real about it. So they're back home, I'm out of state, and this is just how we're going to do it tonight. So we have Taylor once again on our podcast. So welcome, Taylor. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so things are going to look a little different tonight. We don't have a card pull. So I downloaded an app, and I'm going to read 2 mantras from this app. The first one that it sent me says, I love who I am, therefore I naturally attract positive relationships into my life. Which I really like that.
That's a good one.
I also like that one. Yeah. I feel like that's really relatable, especially like where I'm at in my life.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you have a positive attitude, like you kind of are, you attract what you are.
Agreed.
Oh, for sure.
Kind of like intention setting. What you want in your life, you will receive.
Yeah.
I like that.
I agree. The second one says, I am comfortable and enjoy doing things by myself, which I'm like kind of slowly learning. Like I really enjoy like sitting at home and chilling at home by myself, like whatever. I'll like sometimes go to a store by myself, but
yeah, that one kind of hits me like that you're okay with like being alone and by yourself and you love yourself and you don't need anybody to fill any void within yourself. So like you just truly like that's that self-love to me. That's what I heard for sure.
Yeah. It's that, and it's also just like being confident and loving yourself enough to be able to be like,
right.
I am enough to be able by myself. I'm mentally okay enough to be by myself. Not being dependent on other people, because I think
like it's okay to feel my feelings and it's okay I feel this way by myself, and you just got to let it go
100%,
and you're definitely strong enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, so I think for tonight, because I know we kind of just like really ran out of time last week with Taylor's story, because it was a lot. It was a long time, a lot to unpack.
It was. I totally did not expect it to be as long as it did, but it was good. It brought up a little bit more.
That's okay. You got a lot to say, Taylor. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm a talker, you know.
Well, I don't feel like you've ever like let this shit out. Like, I mean, you talked to me vaguely about it, but you're similar to me where we just like hold it in kind of until it just like.
Well, yeah, it's just I don't know how to talk about my feelings. Even now in my current relationship, like I have to think I'm like, oh shit, like I either over-explain because of past issues, or it's like I just shut it in and I can't let it out, and I don't know, like I physically don't know how to say the words that I'm trying to, like what I'm feeling.
Dude, I feel the exact same way, Taylor. Like I'm for sure learning how to express the way I feel without trying to have like a reaction about it, and just like be like, okay, this is how I feel, and just like process it and kind of let it go instead of being like have a reaction from the feeling.
Gotta sit with it for a second,
which usually never goes good. So
I know it's usually us like texting each other, dude, I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. Like, talk me off the ledge.
At least like I should start texting you guys more when I'm about to like lose it, because like I swear to God, I will have like 2 weeks in a month, and it might not be like a full like 2-week spread or whatever, but like I'm like losing my shit, and it's like it's not anything that somebody's actually done to me, but it's what my brain is making it into be, and then it turns it into a different
for sure. And every scenario that could outcome from it, you're like, well, what if it goes this way? Well, what if it goes this way? Like,
and then I'm just trying to like freak myself out. And then I give myself like the worst anxiety. So I'm sitting in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to write a journal or something, or I'm going to start crying, or.
Do you journal, Tay?
So classy.
What?
Do you journal? I was just curious if you do journal when that happens.
I have off and on, but I am actually in the look for getting an actual journal for it, because there's no better way than to write it down personally. Because my thing is, when I get to a comment, and Kenzie, I'm sure you can attest to this, maybe not with you, because you're different, and I can freak out on you whenever. But like if I'm like mad at like say like a day at work, a coworker, and not even like mad, just mad at the situation or whatever it is, like I tend to like shut down instead because I get a really guilty conscience if I say something and I know it's going to be mean and hurt somebody's feelings. Like I get a terrible guilty conscience. So what I
if
do
you know
is,
your intention was to hurt them, yeah, I totally get that.
well, even if it like just slips out, like
Right.
if
Oh,
you
for sure.
deserved
For
it,
sure.
even if you deserved it, I'd still be like, damn, I was kind of harsh about that.
Right.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
whatever. But like
kind of like the reaction thing, like you let
Yeah,
that shit get to you,
100%.
so it's like a reaction.
Exactly. Because like in our household, like when you were mad, it was normal to yell. If you were upset, it was normal to get a loud voice. So now what I'm trying to work on.
Well, that's what you did. So
yeah, 100%. Like, and I still do, but I'm still trying to work on it. I'm like, Jesus, I'm 26.
I mean, just like everybody in general. Sorry, Taylor, I keep talking over you. Just tell me to be quiet.
No, you're good. You're good, dude. Yeah, but no, I do need to get a journal because there's nothing like talking about your feelings like in that moment. Because if you try to reassess and like, so like what I do is I stay quiet and I'll walk away for a while, and then I'll be able to be like, damn, I was kind of wrong too. But this is where we need to come to a meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I find it's best to journal at that time. And then when you're ready to go back and have that conversation, you know what you're going to say, because then you're going to be like, oh, it happened all so quick. I can't remember exactly like how I felt in that moment. And then it's going to be like word vomit or bring up past stuff, which you don't want to bring up past stuff because that never
does anything. That's like the worst thing ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like sometimes when you journal, if you like just journal your reaction out, it's kind of just like, okay, there it is.
It's just
that actually just came to me. I've never done that, but I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. I've always went on and off of having like a journal ever since like elementary school. And I'm just like, I should just stick with it because.
Oh yeah. I remember always them making us journal, and it would be like, I walked the dog.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think I was taught to journal about my own life. It was just like, we're journaling about life in general type.
Right. But I think I saw one of your journals when we were kids and I read it. I read like 3 pages of it. And
my instinct journal probably.
Yeah, dude. It was in your instinct diary. She had a diary box with a journal inside that was also in sync.
Hey, I can't help what
was it the one with like the voice activated where you could like lock it with your voice?
No, dude.
No, but it had a little lock on it with like a little key.
Yeah, I had one of those voice ones and I was like, yes, this is the coolest thing ever.
I believe you opened my journal. That is so funny.
I couldn't tell you what was on it. But you know what's funnier is when I found some of your old videos that you used to record when you had your friends over.
Oh my God. Hilarious.
Talk about real lip sync battle. That was funny.
You joined in on those too. So
that's hilarious. Real lip sync battle. I can imagine you two.
Funny.
Oh gosh.
So Cassie's commenting on, she says a journal is sometimes better than your friends or family because even if your friends or family are realists, they still probably are biased on a situation or a person, which I can agree.
I could agree.
Yeah, I agree.
You're not going to give advice based on your own experience, and it might not really be the experience of the other person.
Right. Because if somebody did something to you, but you might have actually deserved it or anything, I should be like, that's my sister. Who do you think you are?
Well, still the same thing could happen to you or to me, and we would just might react differently just because that's who we are. Like as people, like something that like really bugs me, you're probably like could be like whatever.
Right. You'll think it's not a big deal. Or I do feel like even that's like a reaction, going and telling somebody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can be.
And like journaling.
Because sometimes I would tell my mom and I know what her I know what her reaction would be. So it'd be like, oh, I know she's going to reassure me. So I'm going to tell her this type of thing. And, you know, that's kind of like double whammy because you're like, yeah, she says I'm right. But in your back of your mind, you're like, I knew she was going to do that.
Yeah. But I needed her to pep me up.
Yeah.
I feel like me and you lately, we've been doing a lot better about instead of just egging each other on just to make each other feel better. I think we've been able to be like, I hear you. Like, let it out.
I like that.
I hear you. But do you think it could have been perceived like this?
Okay, so there's one thing
and
I feel like I try to like do that with people where the one time, I don't even know what I think I was going through a breakup or something. And so I was like venting to Courtney about it. She was like, who I was super, super close with at the time. And she's like, okay, like love you, but I can't hear
Mhm.
it. Like, I'm gonna give
That's
you
the
5
best though.
let it out,
Mhm.
and then I don't want to fucking hear about it ever again. Like, whatever.
That's good.
And so I really
Yeah.
tried to be like, okay, let it all out. How do you actually feel? And then let's like be level headed about it. But
Yeah.
do your
Like
drama.
get your ridiculous out and then
Yeah.
be done with it. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that because then it just drags on longer and longer, and then you think about it more. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to because it is what it is. You know?
Yeah.
You can't
Well,
help the way you feel.
Your
sometimes.
problems, everybody else's problem, because then nobody's want to be by you anymore.
Right. You don't want to drag other people down. Yeah, I get that completely.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Right. Well, do you want to kind of
Start us
I
off,
asked-
Taylor, where we left off, I guess.
Okay, so Cassie, thank God you have a great memory. We were kind of like, where did we land?
We're all
last week?
struggling.
So we think, you were asking if you knew if you were in a toxic relationship, like at the time, or like during
yes.
any periods of like, because it
And
was
I
like
think
7 or 8
like
years.
red
Yeah.
flags or something was in that conversation,
Yeah.
maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
For sure. Okay, I'm
Yeah. So
totally.
we didn't really get a
back
whole
on
lot
track.
into your story. Like,
No, we
I mean,
didn't.
we
We just
covered
talked
like
about childhood
year
a
1
lot.
through 3, kind of.
Yeah. So we were together for 6 years, but then there was 2 additional years, like a year and a half before we actually started dating or so, maybe closer to a year. And then after we broke up, we were still in the same house for a year, which was made a whole lot more of a mess for me. But so we knew each other for a total of about 8 years. Kind of messed around the entire time. Did I know that it was a toxic relationship at the time? Yes and no. I decided to ignore the red flags, or after I like really sat down and I like thought of certain situations, I'm like, oh well, fuck, that was a red flag. I didn't
Right.
think about that.
You're
Now
like,
it's-
how did I not see that more clear?
yeah. Or now or kind of like it was almost kind of like a factor, like that makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
I get why that behavior led to this behavior, and then this, and this. Like looking back at it, you can kind of it makes a lot more sense. And then also the other thing with me is this was like my actual serious first time, like more than a couple months relationship. Like I've never had like a real established, like long, real serious relationship. So this is like my first one. I was 17 and I was graduating from high school at senior, and I was graduating a semester early. I decided, I'm 17 and I know a lot. I'm just going to move myself into his house. So now I'm going to school. I'm working a couple of jobs, and I'm now living with my boyfriend who had his college buddies also living with him, right? So it was like party often. And
at
it was
17,
good.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, 17 and then going into 18. So
Right.
So 17, 18, and then on. So we've lived together like pretty much since like maybe 4 to 6 months after we were dating. Like I pretty much lived with him until I moved all of my shit over there. But even then I didn't even move everything over. But there was like this one instance to where like I thought back of where he got like increasingly mad about this situation about a garbage can. I think we talked about this in the last one, where he got mad and he didn't talk to me like the whole night about the garbage can.
Yeah, Cassie just commented.
What was it?
Address the red flags, because you did talk about being on eggshells after the garbage can scenario. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I find that I tend to gear towards people's feelings to make them feel less stressed or angry or upset. And I'm trying really hard to not do that anymore, but I still know I totally do it.
Yeah, people please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like I kind of just like wait for him to talk to me. I just sit there in silence with my head down. Like when his friends were over and talking, like I just like sat there like I was like a fly on the wall. I was just like, oh, like I guess I can't talk, like whatever. And I totally did that to myself. There was no reason. I was not raised that way. I was not taught to do that. I never done that before, but I was put in a situation that I've never been put in, and it made me feel not like myself. So I shut down pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I think honestly was the very first red flag I've ever noticed in that situation. Then I noticed, like, further down the road, like, he was of age to go out and drink, right? Like, a year and a half later, after we've been dating for a little while, he was able to go out and drink. I didn't have a fake ID. I didn't go out and drink underage. I didn't go to the bars. I didn't do that shit. One, I worked 3 jobs and went to school at this time. Like, we had, like, this is when we moved out of his house and we got an apartment, put everything under my name. Another red flag. Probably. And
well, at the time, I don't think that would have been probably
not. At that time, I was like, oh my gosh, I get my own apartment. I get all this responsibility. It's going to be so much fun, not realizing
right.
what all
it was like excitement.
Yeah. Place of my own, like,
right.
whatever. But at the second, like, instance, though, you got to think your equals, your partners, something should have been in his name. Nothing should have landed all on me.
Right.
But again, like you said, young and dumb.
I've done the same thing.
That, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so everything was in my name. And that was another red flag. He used my car more and more and more as time went on, to the point where it's just like I had to ask to use my car kind of thing. And I'm like, well, that's fucked up. I fucking pay for that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And then let me see. So I'm gonna tell you guys some stuff, and you guys are gonna be like, you dumb bitch. Like, hello, where's your brain?
We will not,
at?
Taylor. We're not here to judge you.
We did.
We're here to let you talk it out and get it off your chest and be done with it, Kenzie.
Hey, no, at the time though, she was really trying to help me out, because like she's told me so many times, but then it kind of gets to the point where it's just like, dude, help yourself. Like,
right. Like, open your eyeballs, please. Oh, I'm sure I had plenty of family members the same way, Taylor.
Yeah. And I get it. Like, everybody does that. And then I'm a true believer in, like, you're never going to learn it unless you go through it. You can hear as much as you want, but you're never going to truly feel those words until you go through it. And that's just the sad part. Oh. Sorry, Cassie. You got a love message.
She said, can I ask what friends and family thought about this? Knowing my own family and friends, they would have made sly comments like, why is he driving your car?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think, honestly, all of my friends and family have probably said something a couple of times. Whether it was in regards to just like the car, working, not wanting to hang out, because I cut a lot of people. I cut off damn near everybody that I talked to. I was a house body. I was only him and his friends that we hung out with. Kenzie and your boyfriend at the time would come over. But other than that, like, I really didn't have friends except for like 2 people that I worked with. And even then, like, they'd be like, do you want to go out? You want to go do something? And I'd be like, no, I'm just going to stay at home. It was partial because I did not want to deal with being interrogated. I didn't want to be interrogated before I went and did whatever I did. I didn't want to be interrogated after I came home either. Mind you, again, I got a really guilty conscience. So me doing anything like,
you'd say
shiesty or whatever, I wouldn't be able to fucking hide it. I don't have a poker face. Like, what I feel is what you see. Like, 110%. Like, you could be told that.
I feel like I'm the same way now. I feel like I used to be a good liar, but not anymore.
Like, I can just too about things here and there, but like, if it has, like, if I feel like there's a negative outcome, or like I feel anything, like, I feel like I'm an empath in certain ways like that. So that's why I'm just like, I'm such a community crier. Like, if I see somebody crying, I'm gonna be like,
oh, you're gonna cry. Gotcha.
Yeah. Like, it's just,
I think certain people, for me, I will, but not everybody.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like, damn, I feel that, you know?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it got to the point where it's just like, I was getting questioned all the time. I'm like, dude, fuck this. I'm not going to sit here and just have arguments left and right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what happened for you to not believe me, to me have to over-explain, which is why I over-explain shit now.
Right.
Because, I mean, I'll talk to Kenzie and I'll talk to my boyfriend and I'll be like, telling him, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then we're going to be with so, and so, and then we're going to be here. And he's like, okay, that was like 5 minutes that I didn't need to know. Like, not like so rude, but he's like,
Right.
You'll talk to me about it like when you have your day. Like we'll talk to each other about our day like we
Right.
do every day, and whatever.
Mhm.
But it's just
Right.
like I felt like I had to tell him every bit in detail so that way he didn't I don't know, I didn't have to be questioned and not be believed about anything.
Like he wasn't going to
Right.
be mad at you or something.
It wasn't what you were expecting. Like that, if that's what you're expecting, you're gonna go in with what you think's gonna work. So like the over explaining, you're like, okay, he's gonna have a million questions for me, so I'm already just gonna tell him all right away, so he doesn't have any questions. Like in my experience, that's what I feel like I've picked up from like my codependency or like people not believing my word or anything like that. But yeah, that's hard. That's a hard one to break too.
Yeah. And it does a lot. It really does. Oh, thanks, Cass. It does do a lot to you too. And then it's just kind of like having that back feeling of like your partner never trusts you.
Right.
They're always assuming something of you. And to the point where I'm just like, I don't do anything. I literally I work and I have school and I'm home.
And it just makes you question, like, why are you questioning my whereabouts so intensely? Like,
and I thought,
what are you doing?
I thought of that so late in the relationship. Like, I can swear to you that every single time that he's assumed something of me, never once in my head was I like, oh, damn, he might be doing something on me. If he's sitting here trying to make me feel like I'm the bad person when I've done literally nothing. So, yeah, I mean, it does a lot of like manipulation factors, and then it's hard to trust. And it's hard to trust yourself in a sense.
Well, it's like right. It's like, do I know what I'm doing? Like, yeah.
Right.
Did I do something offensive?
Yeah.
If I like ordered the food and I put like, I don't know, say onion on it or something, and he hates onion, easy thing to fucking pick off. He'd be like, I don't like food like this. Why don't you ever remember my order? It makes me feel bad about it. I'm like, well, shit, my bad. I didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
But or it's just like insensitivities about certain things, which there's also things that I can say is was also signs that maybe it wasn't good. Was like do you guys ever go to stores and you're like, oh, this reminds me of so and so, I'm gonna grab that for them?
Oh yeah, I always do that. My mom did that, and I feel like I've picked that up from her, and I totally do that now. Like I know exactly.
But I'm such a I just saw this on Amazon.
Yes, you also did that. Yeah, I love that.
See, I never really thought of that unless it was like gift season or gift giving time.
Right.
I never had that thought. But now in my current relationship, it's like I'll go somewhere and be like, oh, he's gonna love that, I'm gonna grab that for him. Or even his daughter, I'll be like, oh my God, that's an adorable shirt, she's gonna love that shirt. I'll go and I'll buy it for them. Because that's a thought I have in my mind. That brings back to like the memories of like when I never thought like that. And I'm like, this is how you know physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally this person matters to you in a more meaningful way.
Right. You're in a better spot. Yeah.
Right. Because like, and it could be maybe it was like a immature level to where I didn't think of it because I was a little bit younger. But even then, like we would go on vacation and be like, dude, dad would love that. Or mom would like this.
Mm-hmm.
But never really, like I knew I had a boyfriend, so I had to buy him something if I went out. But it was never like, oh my God, he would love that. I found myself asking him like, what do you want? What do you want me to get you?
That might be a young thing though too, Taylor.
It could. But
it could go either way though, for sure.
I don't know. It was just like, honestly, that was like a thought that I had a while back, but I never really kind of thought back on it again. And I also kind of thought too, taking like a little side dive, I'm a super jealous person, right? I'm an incredibly jealous person. Like,
well, I think that comes from like being interrogated and having that insecurity because you don't know what to believe, and you're like, I'm telling the truth. What the hell? Like, type of shit. I think that for sure stems from all that.
It's abandonment. I think a little bit of in my childhood
for sure.
A little bit to do with it. Not saying that like I'm fine with my parents being divorced. I am okay with it. I don't think it hindered my life to where it affected anything. It didn't hinge me from anything in my life. I'm not saying that the divorce ruined my childhood. It made me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Did it make me think that, nothing lasts forever? Oh, you can't be like, my mindset was you can't be overly optimistic, because when you're overly optimistic, it destroys you when you're hurt. My viewpoint has always been, if you have a more pessimistic view, you feel more blessed and happy when you have something happier happen. Kind of messed up.
I mean, hey, man.
To me, it
gets
sense.
You through it, man. I
but
get
like,
it.
I can be like super confident for you, but for my own self, probably not so much. Because I don't want to be like super bummed when it doesn't happen.
You don't want to be let down.
Yeah. But like,
right. I totally get that though.
Yeah. But
it's almost like you see how good somebody else is, but like yourself, you can't see that like you're probably equally as good, but like, why don't you cheer yourself on? That
right. Like, I don't want to acknowledge that I'm doing good because then something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or something.
Right. It's almost like, it's like a weird self-sabotage that you really don't want to self-sabotage, but you think you might if you do it. So I don't know. Overthinking
stories in my head.
Yeah. Everyone's probably like, we don't think like that.
Yeah, probably not. And kudos to you, because it kind of sucks. But no, like the whole jealousy thing, I started thinking of that, honestly. Funny enough, thinking about it today. I was taking my dog to the vet and I was driving to Farley, so it was a good 25-minute drive to like just reflect. And I was thinking about the jealousy factor because of a situation that happened recently. And I was thinking, I was like, why do I get so jealous? And then I was just like, yeah, they might have a better body sometimes, or maybe I think that they're really pretty to me, and I think that like maybe they're so different looking than me that how am I his type, kind of thing. But not like he's like flirting with them or anything, but I'm making stories in my head. Sorry, you can see my dog in the back.
He's so cute.
She's a tiny little fox.
Or is it a girl?
It's a girl.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, puppies. Hello.
But then I started thinking, am I jealous of the actual person, or am I jealous of the fact that he gives his attention to somebody else? And it's not wrong. Like, his attention isn't like in a negative, bad way to our relationship. Right. It's a normal thing. Like, it's just a normal interaction. But in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if he's actually gonna, like, what if he thinks like in the middle of the night, like, dang, that was a really good conversation with that woman. Like, I kind of want to reach out to her again. Like, it's stupid stuff like that comes into my head that keeps me up at night. Then it's not even a real situation.
Yeah, I feel like that leads back to your like not wanting to get your hopes up type shit, because you're just living through all the bad things. So that way, if they were to happen, you're kind of like,
I knew it.
Cool, I already just lived through that.
Right. You're like, oh, I could have called this, so I don't even care. It's fine.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, oh my God, it's so stupid, because then I'm just like, I know my worth, but
for sure,
can't stand the thought of seeing him or even like his daughter hanging out with somebody else, doing like a family activity as small as like mini golfing or something like that. Like that to me wants to, like, it automatically like wants me to like tear up, because I'm just like, thought of the loss.
Taylor, I have to interrupt you, because me and Kenz went to the gong bath, and somebody there said it's not our business what anybody else thinks of us. And for some reason that just popped in my head when you were talking, and I was like, oh, I got to tell her that. And I'm like, that makes so much sense, because why am I going to worry about what anybody else thinks of me when I already know what my worth is? And that's where you just got to reassure yourself with that self-love.
Yeah. And it's true, because like I still find myself doing that, and it's not like what other people, it is other people, but it's more my boyfriend. It's more, I'm like, damn, like that's a negative thing. Like, he'll say something, like when we argue, we'll have a real life conversation about it, and it's so mind-blowing to me. So mind-blowing, because I can remember the first argument we got into, like we said what we said, and then he's just like, okay, so about that. And I'm like, what?
You're like, no, we leave now.
I was like, wait, we're continuing this? And he's just like,
we're not going to yell?
Yeah, and he's just like, well, we need to figure it out. And I'm like, figure it out? I'm like, how the fuck do we do that?
Taylor, you're so cute.
I don't get that. Like, what do you mean figure it out? I'm just like, what the fuck do you mean? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But that's how I knew also. I was just like, communication. Communication is key, but not just communication, but hearing each other.
Yeah.
I think that.
And action. You can talk all you want,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
but
I need you to show me love.
Which the hard thing with that though is it takes time. So you have to have patience with that.
Patience and
And
grace.
that's a hard thing because everybody's so used to like instant gratification or like I need to know right now if you're gonna be good or not. Like
Yeah.
Which sucks.
100%. Okay. Sorry for that little side dive there. Oh my god, that kind of goes riding the wave. I like that. I should do that. So going back into kind of like the relationship. So we were in our own apartment, and
for more than 3 weeks, because that's all it ever seems to be with men. Yes.
That was hilarious, Cassie. So we were living in our apartment, and then, so if I can remember correctly, I was working at Olive Garden serving. I was working at Mount St. Francis, working second, and then every other weekend I worked third shift. And I was also working at Y Care in the mornings for daycare while going to school part-time.
You're always a worker.
I've always had so many jobs. I can't, if I let my mind stay like wander free, one, I spend less money, and two, I stop thinking so much. It's a distraction for me. It's a distraction because this thing doesn't go. Like, it just doesn't stop going. But he would always have one job or no job. I can remember there was like a few month span where he didn't have a job. I think twice in a relationship. I think he didn't have a job twice for some time. So it was just me, and I was like staying busy all the time. But he was also working on his music because he wanted to have a music career, being an actor, a rapper. I'm sorry, I'm word vomiting. I'll get it together.
It's fine.
So
this is how our show goes.
It's okay. You guys understand. You do this. But it got to the point where like our landlord absolutely loved me. He said that I reminded him of his granddaughter. So I think that like had a big factor in it. I would go down and I would give him rent. Our rent was only $5.25 a month plus electric. That's it. Really good apartment, really, really affordable if you had another person helping you out. Because mind you, when I went to school part-time, I didn't take a loan out. I paid monthly payments. I paid monthly payments to make it affordable so I didn't have a debt from college. And so I was not only having to pay school payments, but rent, car, electric, gas, food, hobbies. So
the school was probably a whole nother like rent payment.
It was. Well, it was like, if I can think correctly, it was either like $134. I think I got it as low as $134 because I stretched it out. Because I took my gen eds for a total of 4 years instead of 2.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Well, you can go as slow as you want.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can take one class a year. I just don't know why, but
yeah, no, it was awful. But I never thought I was going to go to college anyway. Like I thought I was going to go to college, but I never knew what I wanted to do. So I just thought gen eds was the easiest way. So I got that out of the way in 4 years. But during this time, like there were so many times I had to go down to go give partial rent to my landlord, and I'd be sitting there like crying. I'd be like, I'll give the rest to you when I can. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is so stressful for not just me, but for you. And I feel so bad. Like, it's so irresponsible. And like, he would literally have to be like, it is okay. Like, you are okay.
Taylor.
And then it made me just,
that's so sweet.
It made me cry so much. And then like, I hugged this man. And
I truly believe people are in your lives at the right time.
Yeah, 100%.
And that sounds like one of them.
I've heard horror stories of other landlords. And I'm like, dude, I would have been evicted like 4 months, 5 months in. Like, fucked.
For sure.
So, I mean, there was that kind of thing to where, like, it wasn't just me I had to take care of. Now I had to take care of another human fucking being who's older than me. And
who's not your child.
What I was doing. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, it's my responsibility. I got to do it. No, I didn't have to fucking do it. Shouldn't have had to do it, and I shouldn't have stayed for it. So there are times where I get home from work late and he'd be about heading out with some of his friends. Mind you, he had some friends that were lesbians, which is what I don't care. I don't care. Hang out with girls, hang out with guys. I don't care. So he would go out with like these 2 lesbians and then his one girl that he worked with also. And then maybe one other guy friend. I don't know. But I had this thing where I'm just like, because I'm a worrywart and I put stuff in my head, or I'm just like, hey, like, I know it's asking a lot, but like, whenever you like head to a different bar, can you just shoot me a text message?
Well, I just feel like that's things you do for people that you care about. So I don't think that was like.
It's a respect thing. I don't think I was asking for too much. It's a respect
Absolutely
thing.
not.
Like, my mind. That's all.
Right.
So he wouldn't do it. So then automatically made me like, oh man, like something's happening. Right.
Mm-hmm. Overdrive.
Right. So then like there was only one time that I can recall to where he didn't come home at all and I had to go pick him up from like some frat house. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened here? My dumb ass didn't do much questioning because I was afraid it was going to lead into an argument and then I was going to be looked at as the bad guy as usual. Then we'll fast forward to where he established a better relationship with his dad, who lives in Georgia. Did you get along with the family?
Okay, so she has a 2-part question, it looks like. It says, T, are we calling this abusive? I know what I believe it to be, but when you describe it to your current relationships, what do you say? Also, what did your current boyfriend say when you told him some of this? I know men are confused and very upset and ashamed that women are treated this way. And did you get along with his family?
The sad part is, yes, I did get along with his entire family. I got along with all of them. And honestly, I feel a little bad if they see this because, like, he's not all terrible. It's just wasn't right for me. And it wasn't right for him, hence why his behavior was the way it was. It just
also, you're just telling your story, Taylor. You're not bashing anybody. You're just telling your story.
I know, but this is the guilty. I just feel bad.
I know.
But I'm just going to let it out because it's what happened and it's true and other people can relate to it. So I want everybody to be able to feel comfortable and okay with where they're at.
That's super awesome.
Thank you.
I love that.
So I did get along with his family. Would I describe it as abusive? I would possibly on the verge of mentally and manipulative. There was one time where we were both kind of drunk to the point where I kind of locked myself in a bathroom because I was afraid of what might happen. But we're not going to really dive that far. There was just one night where it got kind of dicey to the point where I just got very, very fucking scared. And that was like the biggest like wake up call. Or there would be like a time where like we got into like a big argument and I just left. I drove my car. I drove for a half an hour. The amount of phone calls, the words that I've received from just leaving to get away from it was just made me not want to do that again. Which is because most people would be like, dude, that means you should just probably not go back ever. Right. But that wasn't in my head because I'm an idiot at that time.
No,
it's just didn't know better.
It's all that I knew. It's what I knew at that time. It's hard to change. Like, if there's anything that I could tell myself is change is okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody's so afraid of change, and I hated it. I was always like, well, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Or if it's broken, you can repair it. Kind of like a challenge. It's not, that doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to make it harder for yourself in a situation like that.
For sure.
So I guess saying that when I talk to my current boyfriend about that, like when I act certain ways, like if we get into an argument and then like there are times because I get like really anxious, so I'll have like anxiety attacks. I'll have like days where like I won't say barely anything to you. I have days where like I'll wake up in tears because I'm having anxiety while I'm sleeping and I don't get it. Like, and if I can tell you right now, the worst thing for anxiety is waking up in the middle of the night or waking up from your sleep hyperventilating. I think those were the hardest times to where I was like, I'm never going to be okay. And it happened the most when I was with my ex. And I think I remember telling you about that. And I think there's a couple times where I woke you up from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd be like, I can't stop shaking. I can't fucking breathe. I don't know why. And I can't make it stop. So it would sometimes go away in like a half an hour. Sometimes it'd be an hour. Sometimes it'd be longer. To the point to where I clenched my jaw so fucking hard that I can't eat food for the next day because it hurts to chew. I give myself such a terrible temple migraine for days because of it. And occasionally I'd make myself physically sick where I'd throw up. And it just progressively got worse. And I was also a hypochondriac, so here I am Googling it. I'm like, oh, I got this type of anxiety, this type of this,
Right.
this type of this.
I would get texts like
man.
every day, like, do you think I have this? Do you think I have this? I'm like,
Oh no.
I have anxiety.
Mhm.
Like, go get help. Go
Yeah.
talk to someone.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Like, well, we're here for you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like words are just words. Like you can feel it. And like the best thing that like for me, and I'm not speaking for everybody, the best thing that you can do is give me a physical embrace. Hold me tight and just let me let it out. And then don't say anything to me until I'm ready to tell you or talk. That's like my way.
Mm-hmm.
So like to answer the second part of that question, for when I talk to my current boyfriend about this stuff, he doesn't like it and he's very understanding. So that way, if we do ever have an argument and he does do something like that, he'll come back and he'll be like, listen, that was wrong. Or he's learned to stop himself during certain things and also walk away, which is really, really beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a small handful of times, not even a handful, like maybe 4 times within the last year and a half where I've woken up with that. And all he did was he just hugged me. And I have this thing where I like squeeze my hands together to where like I have like longer nails. So sometimes I cut my hands open on the inside to where he'll make sure that he holds my hand to open it up to where I don't do that.
Right.
And it's like that type of physical security, that touch changes everything for me. Like, and not everybody's probably like that. And I don't want just anybody touching me and hugging me either.
Right.
Like it would have to be like family or like
Right.
boyfriend.
Yeah, like a security person.
Yeah.
Right. Someone that makes you feel secure.
100%. So like when you hear certain things like that, like he doesn't like that. And he hates that I went through that. But jumping back to when he moved to Georgia. So we got rid of our apartment. I moved back home with Kenzie and my dad. And then he was gone trying to do long distance, also mentally fucked. So I would sit there and I'd still have mental breakdowns because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know what he's doing and I don't know like what's happening. Like then we'd get into arguments long distance. And then it got to the point where like I had like the biggest like mental breakdown. And he ended up moving
It's
back.
hard, dude. I can't
It is
imagine.
And then there was like even times
Especially after living together for so long prior.
Mhm. That also goes along with the whole change thing.
Right. Right. You don't like to change. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't like change. It's just hard.
It is. And so he ended up moving back and it wasn't a really great thing. Like it was good at first until it wasn't. And then I'm going to kind of speed through this a little bit faster. So then just started getting like argument on argument, same exact thing, interrogation. I'd have to leave the house. Kenzie would come in and check that we were okay because it would get so fucking crazy sometimes. Like just loud, crazy. Like I looked like a fucking toddler because of an anxiety attack. I'd be like banging my feet on the wall or like freaking out, like just banging stuff like I can't handle this. And I'd be like wanting to rip my hair out and stuff because I can't physically say it. And then it would make me so physically sick too, not just mentally, but physically. And it was so hard on my body. Like my whole body would feel like it was like hit by a truck for like a couple days. Like all the tensing and all of that. Like it was just awful all the time. To even to the point where it's just like both like my mom, my dad, Kenzie, like, it sucks hearing your family, specifically your parents, being like, I just want you to be happy, and this is not what you need in your life.
Right.
And it's hard, and then you're just like, but I don't agree with you, so I'm going to stay. But keep hearing the same thing. So then not only do I have the toxic part from your partner, but then you have the grief and like the people that feel bad for you on the outside that happens to be
for sure.
That also puts a level on it. Like, am I being an idiot? But
you're holding the whole weight on your back too.
And then I'm thinking, like, I'm all he has here. He's not from here. He's from Kansas City. He doesn't have good enough friends that are able to sustain him to be with him, because they're young too. They're college kids. They don't have everything either. A lot of them aren't from here either. Right. So I'm like, dude, I'm this or nothing for him. Like, we got to make it work. Like, I feel bad, and it's all on me, and that's totally not the case at all. Like, his family is great. Like, they're totally there for him whenever he needed them. So I don't know where I just put that in my head either. But it got to the point where we were in Florida for my birthday, visiting our Aunt Sharon. And it was the day of my birthday, and there was an argument the very morning of my birthday. So then I'm just like, that was like the clicking moment of like, we're in the airport. I was thinking about so much shit. And we were arguing throughout my vacation too. And I'm just like, that was the breaking point. I was like, I'm not fucking dealing with this for the rest of my life. I'm like, screw this. I don't need this. I was like 23 or 24. I think I was just turning 24. And I was like, you know, why should I have to literally live with this all the time? So I ended it, and then I felt bad. So we ended up living with each other for like a year. I think I was 23. I was 23 going into my 24th. When I turned 24, he ended up moving back home. He had this intention that he was going to better himself, and we were going to get back together. I told him, I don't know what the future holds, because I don't. But I was like, I just want you to focus on you, not us, not me. Focus on you, because I can't do that anymore. Like, I'm done. I need to focus on me. So he got home. He would see some of my posts because I would start being social again, right? So now I'm like, all these regrets that I had, not going out, not enjoying my 21s, like not having friends.
Right.
Overdoing it by far, might I say. Maybe not by far to some standards, but for me, from where I was to what I went.
I don't think by far. I think that you don't like that type of behavior.
Yeah.
But that you then needed that, first of all. And you were just literally having fun. And you deserved it.
But like, it got to the point where like, I posted like a picture like of myself, and then he would put like a laughing face on it.
Oh man.
And then would remove it later. So, I mean, I had
that's just his manipulation, in my opinion.
Well, it kind of made me be like, damn, am I dumb for doing that? But then I was like, fuck that. I'm going to post it because I fucking like that picture. I look cute in that. I don't care what anybody else thinks. And then he would like send me like text messages and stuff. And like some of them would be nice. Like he would try to like work it out and get it back. And then when I told him like, no, that's not what I'm looking for, I don't want that, then it would turn to a whole different side of like just crazy shit that he would say to me. Like, oh, I feel really bad saying this. I don't know if I should. Just to the point where it made me feel scared that he might release like information that he didn't even have in the first place. He lied about having certain information that he never had, like possible recordings that he never had, and threatened to like share it. And like, it was like stuff like that where I'm like, holy shit, like that can ruin my fucking life.
Yeah.
And for what?
Right.
So it was just like that kind of thing. So then I just stopped. I didn't respond. I didn't do anything. Like I was totally done. I stopped talking to him and everything. And then that's when life got better. I started having friends again. I started going out. Maybe a little too much, but it was fun.
You're fine.
Yeah, but I mean, it was all this stuff that like I never did when I should have. Like when I was in college, when I was 21, like I rarely went out to the bars. And then the
You were
other
enjoying
thing
your
was-
life, Taylor. It's okay.
Yeah. And the other, I just never thought that I was fun anymore. So
Yeah.
like when I went
Right.
out to the bar and like I saw my sister and all her friends were like, yeah, hey, like what up? Like when are you coming back? And I'm like,
It was like
"You
a
want me to
fucking
come back?"
holiday when we'd run into Taylor at first.
You love
And
me?
then it's all shit face. Oh, Tay.
Yeah. And I was like, you guys like, you guys over here? Oh my God. So like I would always be like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, so it's probably be early night because they're probably not gonna have as fun with me, or I'm probably not gonna be able to interact. And here they are just like, dude, you're fucking wild. Like, come
Yeah.
back. Like, you're good shit. And I'm like, oh really?
You're good.
All right. So let me make a habit out of it. But then after like 4.5 months of that, I happened to walk in when I was playing darts at the doghouse, getting a little tipsy after a volleyball, and my current boyfriend happens to walk in, and it's something like out of a fucking movie, like slow motion. Saw him walk through the door. We made eyes. He did a sexy little nod, you know, that men do. And
No,
I
I don't.
Like, what? I don't go out in public. People do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't go to
I
those.
didn't know that happened, Shelby. I didn't know that was a real thing until it fucking happened to me. So then, shut up, Cassie. You're stupid. She did a peep face. No, honestly, I would literally, when I first met him, I was like, dude, I'm so crushed. Like, I am so like enamored by this guy. Like, I can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop talking to him, to the point where I was like, dude, I'm fucking disgusting. Ew. Like, ew. I'm getting too
You're like,
corny.
I'm too much.
Everybody has
Back
preferences.
off.
So like, I still want to be single, but like, feel like I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Like, and I'm
Right.
like, yeah, whatever, bitch. In a few weeks, you're like, gonna be fucking dating and like. Just
You're like, I see
work
you.
together so we would be on walks, and so I'd like joke around with her because like
Yeah.
I could see where it was going. Like I see the happiness,
Right.
giddiness, like
Yeah.
you know. And she's just like, I don't know, you know.
Because
And I'm
it's
just
too
like,
good to be true.
I'm just like, I'm like, just wait. And a few fucking
Go with the
weeks, you're right.
flow. Ride the wave.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I was just so enamored by him, and then we just clicked so well. And then like I'm not really a big texter, but we would send like books to each other, like all through text message, learning so much about each other. And then here we are, 4 months in dating, and I moved into his home, and we have like a family like with his daughter and everything, and we got a puppy, and everything is just great. It's like more than I thought that I deserved. And even now I'm still like, how did this happen? Like, wow. And
Still questioning it. Yeah.
yeah. And it even got to the point where both of like he and I were both like, is this like, should we continue? Because this is almost like too good. Like I feel like there's got to be like a downfall somewhere. To the point where we're both like, this is almost alarming. Like some bad shit's really gonna happen. And so then we talked.
You're like, we're disgusting. How cute we are.
Yeah. I'm just like, I told him I loved him first, with mind you, like I never said I loved you. I hated the word love.
Yeah.
I barely even said it to my own family, which is kind of
I
fucked
have
up.
to like beg her to say
Dude,
it.
same. Dude,
It's kind
Kenz, I'm not gonna lie. When you started saying it to me, I was like, "Oh, I like this," but it's different because, like, we don't do
I remember
that.
the first
Like,
time you're just like, okay, love you. And I'm just
yeah, I
like,
was like, "All right, we're saying this."
I'd give you like a side. I'd be like,
yeah,
I
so I'd be like,
do.
okay, we'd be off the phone, and like I am such a big like, okay, love you, bye person. Like
Yeah.
my friend Cassie can attest, so we say it all the time. And so I like always be like, okay, bye, Taylor, love you, and she'd be like, okay, bye, and I like scream and phone, tell me you love me back. Like, what is wrong with you?
it would always just be so
Yeah.
weird for me. But now I'm just like, if he leaves and he's like, all right, babe, see you later, love you. Or if he doesn't say I love you, I'd be like, so something's wrong. like, I'm like, damn. he must
There's a
break.
problem.
So it's just, it was like really shocking. And so like I told Kenzie, I was like, dude, I told him first. And she's just like, what the fuck? And it was like so weird because like I caught him off guard with it too. To the point where I was like, I love you. And then he's just like, I love you. I love you too.
No.
And then like he hugged me, and then that hug was like the saddest hug because I was just like, oh my god, he waited so long before he said anything back. He said that out of pity. And then like he like
You're just
rebelled, like the
freaking out.
next morning, and the next morning he's just like, I wasn't expecting that. Like it really caught me off guard, but I'm like really happy. So then like I was like, Jesus Christ, you should have told me that sooner. Like,
Yeah,
you
you waited all night to tell me that.
I was like, yeah, well, that was a good run. Like, fuck. But he just brought so much out of me that I didn't know was there. Like Kenzie and I, like she's trying to push me to get into like working out and doing all this stuff with her more, which we did here and there. But then when I got with him, like I dragged her to come with me to the focus class to evolve. But then we just ended up really liking it. And then like he pushed me to be like better than what I am. Like the goals that I had for like my body and everything, like not only did he push me in the healthy right ways, but him just doing that also just encouraged me to want to continue. Right. So I got physically fitter. I started working out. Look for the look from Grace. Cassie, I'm telling you, if I had a hat on me right now, I'd tell you exactly how he did it too. If we had like an actual camera you could see, I'd give a whole act out.
Oh, Megs, that I've noticed how much he's brought out of you. You look amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thanks, Megs. But like I physically feel better, and by physically feeling better, I feel like I look better. I'm mentally getting better. I release more endorphins. Like my anxiety attacks and everything, far more minimal than they ever been. Will it still happen? Yes, because I'm human and anxiety is very real for me.
Right.
I used to get not super depressed, but I would have depressive feelings. Those have also changed drastically. I've been doing a lot of Muay Thai lately, which has really changed my life. I find that it's not just like punching and kicking stuff. It's a huge stress relief. It's a great workout. It's great to learn for self-defense for many different reasons. But that was also introduced in our relationship. I started looking at things healthier, so I'd stopped drinking so much. I did take Adderall a lot, so I really stopped taking Adderall, and that was a huge change for me also, to stop being so dependent on other things to make me feel happier and lighter and be distracted from real life and feelings. So I don't know. I guess it just shows that once you cut out the negativity in your life and you bring in people who better you in more than one way and not just make you feel better, but make you want to do better. Like I have goals that like, I've had for a really long time, or so many different, like say business opportunities that would be like really good, but I'd get as far as like a business plan and never go further because I'd be like, I can't even fucking do this. Like, why am I even going to think about trying it? But now I have like that encouragement. And I have somebody like that has a belief in me. That's not that I didn't always have, whatever. I have family and everything, but
it's just a different push.
Yeah. But
yeah, for sure.
Having like a life partner that was
supportive,
exactly
healthy,
supportive, pushes you in the right ways. So I think meeting him really did change my life for the better.
Is it so exciting that you kind of have like dreams and ambitions now? Because you definitely talk about way more things with excitement and passion and love versus like back then where you'd kind of be like, I don't know, I might want to do this. I don't know. Like it was
always the indecisive factor or like now I feel like I definitely gained more confidence.
Good.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was really awesome.
So what is one thing, because we're pretty much out of time. So what is your favorite thing about your journey and like how far you've come so far? Like the thing that you're most proud of your own self or without anyone saying anything to you?
Honestly, my mindset. I still have a hell of a long way to go, but it wasn't it's not as crippling as it was before. And it doesn't hold me back anymore.
Taylor, sometimes when you were talking, I think we're like the same person. I'm like, Jesus. Yep.
How many other people that feel that way?
100%.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And even
yourself.
some things you said, like just like I realized like, oh yeah, I do that too.
Yeah. And everybody probably does it. You just don't realize it, but you can't hold yourself back. Know your worth. If something bothers you, really evaluate it and ask yourself, do you want to deal with this for the rest of your life?
For sure.
You have the choice.
Do you deserve that? And Cassie, yes, the bus is still on the plan.
Good, Taylor, because I love that idea.
Yeah. I'm going to turn a bus into a schoolie and I'm going to travel the world. It's going to be
Love
awesome.
that, Tay.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah.
I
You're
even learned
amazing, Taylor.
things and I felt like I knew a lot. So that was great. So if anyone has any comments, questions for Taylor, anything like that, feel free to check out our page. We are trying to post our guests, earlier than on Wednesdays so we can get interaction, get questions. We want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. So
Yeah. Or if you have a story that you'd like to share, anything, just get a hold of us on there and we will definitely get you on.
yeah, Paper Planes Boutique would be our page.
Yep, our Facebook page.
Yeah.
All right. Well, time's up. Thanks again, Tay.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tay. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.